Oh, great, I got 59 minutes left. Well, I had other videos planned for this week, but I'm about to replace those with other videos to clear out storage, which would be my day 4 to 5 of my Orlando vlogs. Plus my part 3 of Star Wars Marathon. So, I'm going to have to figure out what am I going to do about storage, because I would like to hopefully have enough room, so in case there's an audience reaction for Deadpool Wolverine, I could get a little bit of that. I got lucky with Spider-Man No Way Home. But then again, I could back out on it. I'm back and forth on it. I don't know. But still, with that being said, hello everyone. Welcome back to another movie review on the channel. Well, another double movie review. But this would be part 2 to my X-Men review series in preparation for Deadpool Wolverine. And last night was the New York City world premiere. I wish I went to a world premiere. That's telling me something on my bucket list. I hope to attend a world premiere. And I'm gonna get off topic real quick. If I ever attend a world premiere, and it's one of the Avatar films, I'd hope to bring my mom with me on the red or blue carpet for the next Avatar films, which could be 4 or 5. Actually, who knows? Maybe, like, we shall see. We shall see, because that Avatar film doesn't come out till like 2031, which is a long, long way ahead. Good God, 2031 doesn't sound so real to me. But anyways, part 1, I reviewed the original X-Men trilogy, and now part 2, we're going to review 2 X-Men movies, one a prequel and one I would consider to be the best X-Men movie in my personal opinion. And since I had some quick thoughts about the past 3 X-Men films, I'm pretty much going to have some quick thoughts on First Class and Days of Future Past. Well, maybe quick thoughts on First Class, then more thoughts for Days of Future Past. So yeah, like I mentioned in the last review, X2, The Last Stand, Origins, and then First Class, I would consider the X-Men movies that were part of my childhood that I remember. Which basically, I guess 2006 to 12 would have been my childhood. Everything from 13 to now, I wouldn't consider like childhood movies, because like, damn it, I don't know how to explain it. But still, you probably get what I'm trying to say here. But yeah, I remember checking this movie out mainly on DVD. I highly doubt I saw this in theaters, although I'd be surprised if I did, because my mom took me to the theaters a lot as a baby, which is no wonder why I love going to the movies so freaking much. But I remember liking this movie, and years later, as I rewatch it, I gotta say, X-Men First Class is a pretty good X-Men movie. In fact, I would probably say it's one of the best prequels out there. Now, back then as a kid, I didn't understand much about this movie other than that I enjoyed it a lot. And of course, I knew I was going to have a better understanding with certain stuff here and there now that I'm older. Especially knowing the messy timelines of the X-Men films. That's probably my biggest issue with these movies. The timelines, man. My God. The timelines here are okay as far as I know. You'll know what timelines are pissing me off later when I get to those movies. But yeah, since I enjoyed the cast of the original X-Men movies, I did also enjoy the cast for the X-Men prequel, X-Men First Class. And I gotta say, the 2 actors that carried this movie for me are James McCoy and... God damn it, I forgot his name. I mean, technically, I slightly know what his name is. It's just, again, I just suck at remembering names. It's so annoying to me. But basically, the actors that played young Professor X and Magneto, no, they carry this movie. In fact, I'd say they are also perfect casting. I mean, like I said, the actors that played Professor X and Magneto in the original trilogy, they'll forever be iconic for those roles, but you gotta get props to these guys here, too. I was like, wow. I mean, I like the actors, but just now being older and seeing how they portray Professor X and Magneto? Like, no, that's what carries this movie for me. As for Kevin Bacon, he played an interesting villain in this movie. I wouldn't say he's the best, nor the worst. Just an overall interesting villain. But what I do enjoy about this movie is, basically, since we're in the prequel era before the X-Men existed, we get to see how Charles and Eric became close friends to then later enemies. I mean, we could see it around like the last act of the movie. As soon as Magneto finally gets his revenge because the Kevin Bacon's villain kills his mother back then, which was quite terrible. But yeah, once he got his revenge by killing them off, he then was about to kill off the rest of the military ships that are about to go to war. Basically, the bad guy's plan for this movie was to start off World War III and have humans kill each other. Therefore, mutants rule the world. And technically, Kevin Bacon's character and Magneto would have worked together on their mutant cause if only he had not killed his mother. Womp womp to him, I guess. But yeah, the director for this movie honestly really cooked with First Class. And he's the director for Argyle that came out earlier this year, a movie I enjoyed. I know not many people enjoyed, but I personally enjoyed it. And also every single Kingsman movie. I thought we had like a few different directors, but nope, he directed most of the Kingsman movies we've gotten from the past couple of years. So yeah, the two other standouts for me in this movie would be Beast and Mystique. And I'll say this, I thought I wasn't a fan of Beast's design because I thought it looked kind of terrible in here, but it wasn't too bad. Once I watched it, I was like, okay, I thought it looked bad, but it's actually not that bad. But his design in the later movies I would say, is much more better. Also, this is something I totally forgot to bring up in my original trilogy. I don't know what Fox was doing, because having to watch the 90s series, and having to see what Mystique looked like in that show, and I guess what she's supposed to look like in the comics, I blame Fox for what they did to Mystique. And what is it that they did? Oh, not have her wear her common accurate costume, therefore she's basically slightly naked, not entirely. I mean, the actresses are in like some type of makeup, which takes a very long process to, what's the word again? Okay, this is what Mystique's supposed to look like, and technically she gets a common accurate costume in Apocalypse, which I'm gonna get to that in part 3. But this is what she looks like in the movies, and I don't know what Fox was doing, but I blame them for this because, God damn it, why do I gotta be a simp for not only the original X-Men Mystique, but also the other Mystique played by Jennifer Lawrence? Lord have mercy, I'm about to... Okay, that was slightly stupid there. I thought that'd be funny, but now I think about it, that just... Let's just forget that just happened. Moving on! So yeah, cast is great, the music is a banger, and the final battle is probably one of the enjoyable third acts I've seen in the final battles of the X-Men movies. But yeah, overall, Matthew McVoy, or damn it, I can't remember the director's name, but whoever his name is that directed the Kingsman movies, he cooked with this movie, and my overall rating is an 8.5 out of 10. I really, what really carries this movie is just the chemistry between the actors that portray Professor X and Magneto in this movie. And like I mentioned in my original trilogy review, I enjoy the dynamic between Professor X and Magneto because you sympathize with both of them and what they want to do for their mutant cause. But damn, if you had to tell me which actors I would prefer, I don't know what to tell you, because both are good. Like I said, those actors from the original trilogy will be iconic for those roles, but I'm just indecisive on which one to pick, because they're both good. Also, I'm now coming to the realization that I may sympathize with Magneto a lot more. I don't know why, unless that's another way of me saying that Magneto is probably one of my favorite X-Men villains, even though, like I mentioned in my last review, that I could see him having, like, a redemption, because, like, sure, he's a villain, he's a bad guy, but I don't know how to properly explain. You probably get where I'm going with this. Because just, yeah, he can have a redemption arc. Like, take X-Men 97, for example. Yeah, he was a bad guy in the original series, but after what happened with Charles Xavier in the series finale, and then the revival series, Magneto was trying out Charles' way of trying to have mutants and humans coexist. Because he despises humans, but you understand why. So, you probably get what I'm trying to say, where I'm going with this, just bringing up X-Men 97 as an example. Sure, he kind of goes bad again at the last few episodes after what happened in Genosha, which... Actually, have we never seen Genosha in live action before? I don't think we have. I'm just now realizing that we've never had Genosha in live action form in these X-Men movies. Well, I look forward to the MCU bringing Genosha in live action. But yeah, my overall rating, 9.5 out of 10 for First Class. Now, Days of Future Past, which was probably the first X-Men movie I ever seen in theaters. Yes, I got to see this movie in theaters 10 years ago. So a quick little backstory on my experience seeing this movie in theaters. So you know that theater I've been going to every single Monday for the Spider-Man re-releases? That's the same theater I went to go see Days of Future Past. And, funny story, I probably already brought this up in my Godzilla double review, but after I saw Days of Future Past in theaters, I snuck into another theater and saw little snippets of Godzilla, of him entering Hawaii as he basically brought a tsunami through their island. But I didn't stay there for long because eventually I had to find my mom, like, oh crap, no, my mom's leaving me. I shouldn't have wandered off. But yeah, I'm glad I had the chance to see this in theaters because for the past 10 years, I've considered Days of Future Past to be the best X-Men movie of all time. Better than the two or three X-Men movies that are considered the worst. Well, you know which movie I would consider the worst X-Men movie. But man, I cannot believe this movie is 10 years old. That just blows my mind. Like, I know what other movies have turned 10 years old. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Age of Extinction of Transformers, The Amazing Spider-Man 2, Godzilla, Captain America the Winter Soldier. Like, how did 10 years gone by? And I actually saw this in theaters. Like, I'm sorry. I'm just making a big deal about it, knowing that it's now been 10 years. Similar with how Iron Man 3 and Man of Steel just turned 10 years old as of last year. Same goes with the Wolverine. But yeah, like I mentioned, if this is the first X movie I saw in theaters, I'm glad that I got to see this on the big screen because this I would consider the best X-Men movie of this entire series. Like, it's honestly better than X-Men Origins and The Last Stand. And speaking about bad X-Men movies, it kind of fixes the problems I've had with The Last Stand and X-Men Origins. And also, I should probably bring this up because I was shocked to find out about this recently when I was watching it with my little brother Rylan for our X-Men marathon. So back on May 23rd of this year, I rewatched it in celebration of its 10-year anniversary. I watched it on Amazon Prime, so I had to rent it because apparently it wasn't on Disney Plus. I could have sworn it was on Disney Plus, but then suddenly, did they remove it? Where the hell did it go? Luckily, it's back on Disney Plus, but what I watched 2 months ago, I don't think I've ever seen that cut before because it said the road cut, and I'm like, the road cut? What? And once I rewatched it again with my little brother Ron, I noticed a slight difference. I'm like, oh my god, I watched the director's cut! And I'm gonna talk about the road cut because that's a lot more better than the theatrical cut that's streaming on Disney Plus. Because in the middle of the movie, when Wolverine accidentally cuts Kitty, who's I don't know what she's doing. I don't recall her powers being like that. I figured she could only phase through walls and stuff, but I'm guessing she's got other abilities that I wasn't aware of. But still, while she has them back in like 1973, she's basically bleeding, and that's not a good sign. But Magneto and Charles, along with Iceman, go to the X-Mansion to save Rogue, who was trapped there apparently, because in like the future, the Sentinels have taken over and basically have killed not only mutants, but also humanity. And whose fault is that for all that happening? Humanity, because we're simply just stupid human beings. But yeah, they save Rogue, and then they basically swap out places because since Rogue can absorb mutant powers, yeah, she takes over for Kitty so that she can recover. But Iceman does sadly die at the X-Mansion, which, oh my god, the deaths. The first time I saw Storm die on screen, I was shocked. I don't know if I cried, but like, no. Just seeing Storm die on screen shocked me as a kid. Like, this movie was basically Infinity War and Endgame at the same time for the X-Men movies. But yeah, like I mentioned earlier, the Sentinels have taken over planet Earth as they've killed off both mutants and humanity. Therefore, the last remaining X-Men members had to find a way to prevent all this happening. And Kitty takes Wolverine's consciousness back to 1973. And so yeah, they do a little bit of time travel in this movie, which, god damn it, time travel can be so confusing because there's so many different rules with time travel here and there. I mean, take Back to the Future, for example, or another I don't know. Time travel is always so confusing. But yeah, she takes his consciousness back to his younger self in 1973, would be after the events of, like, First Class a couple of years later. And, while I enjoy Wolverine in this movie, I also enjoyed seeing other actors in this movie, both the old X-Men and the new X-Men. The three actors that carried this movie for me are just, Wolverine, of course, because I got nostalgia for Hugh Jackman's Wolverine, and the actors that play younger Professor X and Magneto. And I guess I'll for actually top 5, I'll just include Beast and Mystique, who the mission is they're trying to prevent Mystique from killing Bolivar Trask, who, once she kills him, they eventually capture her, torture her, then take her DNA and put it on the Sentinels, which is very, very bad news. But yeah, like I mentioned before, I think the road cut was a lot better than what I got to see in theaters, because we got to see some extra scenes, not only about them saying, like, I now get why it's called the road cut, because Rogue was cut out of the movie. I mean, she does have a slight cameo in the theatrical cut, but still, the Rogue cut is better. So yeah, we get to see Professor X and Magneto save Rogue, but in another scene that was cut out was when Mystique comes by to the X-Mansion, and Beast and Mystique do have like a little makeout session going on real quick, because I guess they also have a thing for each other, mainly in the movies. And the shows, I don't know, but I not make a big deal about it. I do kind of like the romance between Beast and Mystique. But yeah, Mystique was only there just to destroy Cerebro so that Charles would not be able to find her. And I could see how both cuts work out with certain scenes here and there, but like I mentioned already, the Rogue cut is a lot better than the theatrical cut, which I better get the Rogue cut. Do they have that on DVD or Blu-ray? But honestly, I don't know if I have any nitpicks for this movie. I mean, sure, there's like a few scenes that slightly bug me, and I would probably consider them a nitpick, but they kind of don't matter once the movie is over at the third act, which the third act is like I mentioned, that like just seeing Storm die, I just was in suspense of everyone else dying on screen. Like the third act is just suspenseful with the Sentinels trying to kill off every single mutant out there. Also, I gotta say this right off the bat, there are 3 characters that have been done dirty in these movies. I've already mentioned about Cyclops being done dirty, Rogue being done dirty, but third place has to go with Bishop, because they do introduce him in this movie, and in the 90s show, I found him to be a really cool and badass character! In Days of Future Past, he's done so dirty! Okay, maybe that's probably my one nitpick with Days of Future Past. But seriously though, words cannot describe how awesome this movie is. And sure, Wolverine kind of gets sidelined in the final battle as he gets his ass whooped by young Magneto, which, god damn it. But as I've come to learn after watching the 90s show, before I checked out the show, I didn't care much about other mutants because I cared about Wolverine, and this is slightly Fox's fault for making him the most popular character. I mean, yes, he was already popular. He's part of the big 3 of Marvel, which would be Spider-Man, Hulk, and Wolverine. But since us fans fell in love with his character, Fox made him more popular, and just like, yeah, he's basically more popular than the other mutants. I don't know if I explained that well, but still. But like I said, I didn't care much about other mutants because all I cared about was the Wolverine. I care about Wolverine. But after watching the 90s show, along with the revival show, I now care for other mutants. So like, say for example, if Cyclops becomes the main character for the X-Men reboot, and Wolverine is just like a side character or whatever, I'll be fine with that. I mean, I know I've wanted Wolverine to be a main character for the X-Men reboot, but I should probably save these thoughts for whenever I make that video of what I want to see from the MCU's X-Men movie, but still, basically, what I'm trying to say is that it's nice to see other mutants shine in this movie, other than just Wolverine. And, once he does get sidelined, which, bit bummer, damn it, he sadly got his ass kicked, which, how was he able to kick his ass? He didn't have adamantium, he had bone claws in 1973. You know, it doesn't matter, because the last act is definitely entertaining, and, oh, I forgot to mention one mutant we get to see in this movie, and that is Quicksilver. He does have a cool montage in slow motion, but I say the one he has in Apocalypse is a lot more better, and what I would prefer. But yeah, Quicksilver was a standout character in this movie, but anyways, so just, yeah. Words cannot describe how awesome this movie is, and just around, like, the last few minutes of the movie, we get to see Wolverine back where he succeeded in this mission, everyone is alive, and we get to see other X-Men characters we've seen in the original trilogy. And we also get to see Jean Grey and Cyclops alive. Like, no, this movie was just awesome. Now, I know folks say Logan's the best one out there. We'll have to agree to disagree. This is just my personal opinion, because for me, X-Men Days of Future Past is the best X-Men movie. Unless Deadpool Wolverine takes that #1 spot. Which it probably will. Let's all admit it. It's gonna take the #1 spot for my ranking list. Also, this is something I forgot to mention as I'm editing this review. There's one problem that this movie does cause for the rest of the entire franchise. Remember when I mentioned something about the timelines and how that's my biggest issue with these movies? Apparently, well, yes, they save everyone at the end. This somehow creates a new timeline, therefore a rebooted timeline for the X-Men movies, which is why we got Apocalypse, Dark Phoenix, and all that, etc. Oh god, these timelines, man. But anyways, for my rating, it's going to be a 10 out of 10. Definitely one of my favorite movies from 2014, which I definitely need to do a list of my top 10 favorite movies of 2014. I'm going to try to do that soon. Right now, I already got other videos that I need to make. Unless I gotta make other videos to clear out storage. Oh, son of a bitch. With that being said, those are just my thoughts on X-Men First Class and X-Men Days of Future Past. You can show them thoughts, comments down below. Which one would you prefer? I would say First Class is one of the best prequels we've gotten, but Days of Future Past, as I've already made it clear, my personal opinion is the best X-Men movie we've gotten. And yeah, I'll see you on part 3 for X-Men Apocalypse, Dark Phoenix, and then a review, basically, for the New Mutants. So as always, I'll see you guys in the next video, which will be part 3. Peace out.